Estonia is a small country, but it has made a big impression on the global stage. This Baltic nation of just 1.3 million people has attracted attention from around the world thanks to its high-tech digital state. Luukas Ilves is the Chief Information Officer and is tasked with making Estonia a digital society. So, Luukas, Estonia is well known for being a successful digital nation. What do you think the success is attributed to?
We've been very good about providing public services in a digital manner for several decades. The joke we have is that there's really only one service that is no longer fully online, and that is divorce. But what we're trying to do now is not just to look at what the government itself does around digitization, but how the services that we provide, the data that the government holds on behalf of citizens, are a platform also for civil society and the private sector, and how we can enable really everyone to take advantage of the data they have and the tools they have in the digital world to live a better life.
So, how does that partnership work together when you look at government agencies and the private sector?
What we're looking for is ways in which the private sector can help provide public goods with the government. And on the other hand, where some of the data that government stewards makes the private sector better at their job. So, to give you a really simple prosaic example, if you apply for a loan in Estonia today, instead of having to submit all of your bank accounts and your sort of income statements, you just press a button that confirms your consent to let the bank pull that data from the tax authority. And on the flip side, when you're declaring your taxes, you can similarly consent to have the tax authority review some of your banking transaction data and then help fill out a nice automated tax return, not only for citizens, but also for businesses, where we know that it's really businesses that have the higher burden when they're filling out their tax returns.
Estonia offers an e-residency, and you've taken it one step further with the digital nomad visa. How specifically do these work?
So, in a sense, the e-residency and the digital nomad visa are two reverse sides of the same coin. So, the idea of e-residency, about a decade ago, we already recognized that the environment of digital services, in particular, how easy it is to start and to actually continue to operate a company in Estonia, all the tax returns, the regulatory compliance, that we effectively were providing a platform for small entrepreneurs across the world to have a tax-paying compliant business in a much easier manner without having to deal with a lot of bureaucratic overhead than in most of the world. And the digital nomad visa is actually very much the opposite. The idea is that we now have a growing group of digital nomads across the world whose work is physically independent of where they are. And so the idea of the digital nomad visa is you can have no tie to Estonia, no company in Estonia. You can be doing location independent work, and we welcome you to come and just live here.
So, how have these initiatives helped the local startup ecosystem?
Well, I mean, the local startup ecosystem, I should say, is incredibly vibrant. Estonia is sort of likes to call itself the land of the unicorns. And I think on a per capita basis, we certainly have the most unicorns in the world. So the first famous one being Skype. But where the Estonian ecosystem has really benefited from is the international element. We don't have the scale and the size of Silicon Valley or even a place like Berlin. But the flip side is that you can do interdisciplinary things here quite easily. So what we see in a lot of the really interesting startups in Estonia today is that they're tackling some interesting, complex problem in a way that brings together two or three domains, that brings together both engineering and design expertise, and putting together these sort of multidisciplinary teams and getting to the point where you have a working product with capital, with customers, works very quickly here.
With so much data being collected every single day, artificial intelligence is a tool that's helping mine this data. So, what role should government play with regards to regulating this technology?
I think in the discussion on AI, we almost get too focused on regulation because at the end of the day, it's a tool, and the challenge is how do we ensure that that tool is used for the benefit of individuals and collectively society. And the challenge for government is to not get stuck in this place of only being a regulator. And the way you do that is to actually to use AI yourself, to experiment with it, to look for public sector applications of AI. So we have about 100 different public sector uses of AI that do everything from detect tax fraud and benefits fraud to help place people in better job offerings when they're unemployed, or help us identify the impacts of storms and natural disasters on our road networks. And the point there is that in creating these applications where we use it, we also understand how the technology works in a way that also lets us better regulate it. So what we kind of have realized is that using the technology ourselves and regulating it are really two sides of the same coin.